All right, class. Good to see you again. Actually, I wish I was seeing you, but Corona. All right, so this section is 3.5, and we're going to cover equations of lines. Okay, first thing we're going to talk about is kind of where we left off from 3.4, remembering that we can write equations of a line if we're given the slope and the y-intercept. We can literally just plug that in. So an equation, a general form, is slope-intercept form here. If I'm given the slope, I can just substitute m, the value I'm given for m, and I can substitute the value I'm given for b. So given the slope and the y-intercept, I can literally just write the equation like this. This is my slope, this is my y-intercept. Okay, same thing here. I can just say, well, I'm given the slope, that's -4/5, and the y-intercept is 3. Great, write an equation of a line given the slope and the y-intercept. Okay, but what about when we're not given the slope and the y-intercept? How do we write an equation of a line? Okay, well, I'm going to do these steps here. My first step is I'm going to identify the slope. Okay, if it's not given to me. The problem might give me the slope, but if it doesn't, then I need to remember my slope formula. Okay, I need to remember the definition of parallel, that these have the same slope, and perpendicular, that these are going to be opposite signs, so they're going to be inverse reciprocal. Okay, so we have lots of things that we've talked about with slope. So identifying the slope is going to be probably the hardest part of this. The second step is that I'm going to be writing the equation in slope-intercept form. They're asking for it in slope-intercept form, so I need to know what slope-intercept form is. Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, where m is equal to the slope, and b is equal to the y-intercept. Okay, so we're using y equals mx plus b. The third step will be to substitute a value, or the values, for x, y, and, well, that's a really ugly and m. Well, where am I going to get these values to substitute? Well, I'll get the value of m from step 1. Okay, I'm going to identify my slope so I'll know what it is. I get the value of x and y from an ordered pair that I'll be given. Okay, we'll talk more about this. So I'll be given some ordered pair, and that's where I'm going to get the x and y values. After I've substituted those, what I'm going to do is I'm going to solve for b. That's the only thing I won't know. So I'm going to solve my equation for b. Once I've solved my equation for b, I'm going to substitute m and b only in the equation y equals mx plus b. Okay, so these are the general steps, but what would a problem like this look like? Okay, so we want to write an equation of a line in slope-intercept form given the slope and a point. Okay, so I'm going to say, hey, well, the slope is 2, and the point that lies on this line is the point -1, 4. Okay, so first step of my goal here is to write the equation in slope-intercept form. So my first step is to identify the slope. Well, that was really nice. They gave it to me. All done. Second step is to recognize I'm using y equals mx plus b. My third step is to substitute the values of y, m, and x, because I have them. I have all of them right here. Here, this is my x value, and this is my y value. So when y is 4, and m is 2, and x is -1, what is b? B is the only thing I don't know here. So I'm going to solve for b. Well, to solve for b, I just have to add 2 to both sides, and I get that b is 6. Sweet. Now I know m right here, and I know b right here. Because I know them both, Now I can write the equation of this line using y equals mx plus b, but this time I'm only going to substitute the value for m. This is what makes a unique equation. The equation itself is going to be 2x plus 6. So what the heck did I just do here? So I get that I can like have this process and I can follow this process, and the process kind of makes sense. Maybe if I practice a little more, it'll make more sense. But what the heck is this, and how is it related to this? Well, this equation right here is the equation that would pass through this point and has this slope. So again, this is not what this question is asking, but let's look at this. If I were to graph the equation y equals 2x plus 6, okay, so I'm going to be at 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is the point 0, 6, right? And my slope is 2, which means I'm going to go up 2 and right 1. Well, if I go up 2 from here and right 1, I'm just going to keep going off this graph. So I'm going to go the opposite. So this could also mean going down 2 and back 1, and down 2 and back 1, and down 2 and down 2 and back 1. So this line then looks like this. And you'll notice here, so again, just graphing this line, the slope of this line from any point on the line, okay, to the next point. So let's start here. We're going to go up 2 and right 1, up 2 and right 1, up 2 and right 1, up 2 and right 1. Okay, so my slope is 2. Great, so that meets this qualification here. Slope is 2. And does it pass through this point? Well, the point -1, 4 is this point right here. Okay, and it passes through that point. Also, it's important to note that this point right here that it passes through, this line represents all of the ordered pairs that would make this statement true. So if I substituted the point -1, 4, so if I substitute 4 for the value, and I substitute -1 for my x value, 4 is equal to -2 plus 6. 4 equals 4. This statement is true, and that's because this point lies on this line. Okay, so hopefully you're connecting some dots here, pun intended. All right, so that is my example of writing an equation of a line in slope-intercept form, given a slope and a point. But how do I do this? One second, having a little technical difficulty here. Wish I could pause the recordings and start them again. Okay, so how do I write an equation given 2 points? Given 2 points. Well, let's do, I'm making this up so it might be ugly. Let's do the point 4, -1, and the point 2, -2. Okay, so given these 2 points, there's a line, and these points both lie on that line. But I want to know the equation of the line that these points lie on, not just these 2 points. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to identify the slope. My first step in identifying the slope, I'm going to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so then my slope is going to be a -1 over a -2. So -1 over a -2, which really equals a +1/2. So I've identified my slope. I've done step 1. Step 1, I have a slope of 1/2. Step 2, I'm going to use the y equals mx plus b formula, or form, to find the general equation of the line that passes through these points. Well, I'm going to substitute here an m value, an x value, and a y value. I could substitute this x if I substitute this y, or I can substitute this x if I substitute this y. But I can't choose like the x from here and the y from here, or vice versa. So I'm going to use this second ordered pair. So I'm going to say that my y value is -2, my m value is 1/2, my x value is 2. I'm going to write it as 2/1 just because I'm dealing with a fraction here. And the thing I don't know is b. The whole reason I'm substituting y, this m, and this b, or this x, is because I don't know b. So now I'm going to solve for b. Well, 1/2 times 2 is just going to be 1. And to get b by itself, I'm going to subtract 1, so I get that -3 is equal to b. So I've solved for b. Now that I know what b is, I'm going to write the equation of the line. I have the m value. The m is 1/2. And I have the b value. That b value is -3. So writing the equation of the line that passes through these 2 points, this is how we would do that. Again, in this step, we're only substituting m and b because I need the y and x there as the general form of the equation. All right, so that's if I was given 2 points. What if I was given, looks like I shifted this a little bit. Okay, what if I was given instead an equation, and I said, hey, write an equation of a line that is parallel to this line and passes through this point. Okay, I want to write an equation of a line that's parallel to this line right here that's given. So it's not this line, it's parallel to it, and it passes through this point. Okay, well, the first thing I'm going to do is identify the slope of the line I'm looking for. Well, the slope isn't 3 because this isn't in slope-intercept form. If I put this equation in slope-intercept form, okay, then I get y is equal to 3x plus 9. All right, so in slope-intercept form, the line that I was given, the slope is 3. Well, parallel lines have the same slopes, right? They have the same slopes. So the slope of the line I'm looking for is 3 because it has to be the same as the line that was given. Okay, so my next step is I'm using y equals mx plus b. My third step is that I'm going to substitute y, m, and x. So my y value, again, is going to be from this ordered pair that was given. So it's going to be 2. My m is going to be 3. My x is going to be 6. And my b, I don't know. The whole point of this exercise is to find out what b is. Okay, so that's going to give me 2 is equal to 18 plus b. So I'm going to subtract 18. And I get that -16 is equal to b. All right, so this is the value for b. Now that I know my m value of the line I'm looking for and my b value of the line I'm looking for, I can write the equation y is equal to m, which is which is 3, x plus b, which in this case is a -16. So this line is parallel to this one. but passes through those points. You can see they're parallel because they have the same slope, but they pass through different y-intercepts. Okay, so that's how you would write an equation of a line that is parallel. What about a line that is perpendicular? I'm going to give you a tricky one here. Let's write an equation of a line that is perpendicular to y equals -2 and passes through the point 3, -4. Okay, so I'm looking for an equation of a line that's perpendicular to this one, but passes through this point. Well, perpendicular have inverse reciprocals, but first of all, what does this line look like? This is where understanding what lines look like is really, really important. So if I'm on my xy coordinate plane and y is equal to -2, this line is a horizontal line. Okay, the line that was given is a horizontal line. Well, if the line that I'm looking for is going to be perpendicular to that, it has to be a vertical line, right? So this line is horizontal. I'm looking for a line perpendicular to it, so it has to be a line that looks like this. Okay, so that means it's a vertical line. Okay, so I'm looking for a line that has an undefined slope because the slope of this line is 0. And the inverse reciprocal of that is an undefined line, a vertical line. Okay, so step 2 is I'm using y equals mx plus b. My y value is -4, my m value is undefined, and my x value is 3. You can see here that we have a problem. Houston, we have a problem. I can't use these steps to do this because I can't times something by undefined. Like, what the heck does that even mean? Okay, so I need to understand my knowledge of vertical and horizontal lines. If I know that this line that I'm looking for is a vertical line, okay, and it passes through the point 3, -4, which is 1, 2, 3, -4, passes through this point. If it's a vertical line, it has to be this line. And it has to be a vertical line because the definition of perpendicular is that they intersect at a 90-degree angle. Well, then the question is, forget about all this. What is the equation of this line? It passes through this point right here, and it's perpendicular to this one. Well, this line, every point on this line, x is 3. So the equation of this line is x equals 3. And this one was tricky. We could use another example. So let's do 2 more examples here. Okay, what if we said instead that we want to find an equation of a line that is perpendicular to y is equal to 2/3 x minus, let's say, +2, and passes through the points -6, 1. Okay, so I want to, let's do a -4, 1. Okay, so I want to find the equation of a line that's perpendicular to this one and passes through this point. So my first step is to identify the slope. Well, the slope of this line that I was given is 2/3. But remember that perpendicular have inverse reciprocal slopes. So inverse reciprocal. The inverse of 2/3 is -2/3, and the reciprocal of that is a -3/2. So the slope of the line I'm looking for has a -3/2 slope. Okay, again, I just have to know that they're inverse reciprocal and what that means. Step 2, I'm using y equals mx plus b. And step 3, I'm going to substitute y, which is 1. I'm going to substitute m, which is a -3/2. And I'm going to substitute b, which is a -4. I'm going to write it as a fraction because I'm dealing with a fraction, so it makes it easier. Okay, again, I got this 1 from this y value right here. I got this -4 from this x value, and I got the 3/2 from doing the inverse reciprocal. Now I'm going to solve for b. Well, this 2 goes into this twice, so this is going to give me 1 is equal to 6 plus b. I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides, and I get -5 is equal to b. Well, I just solved for b. Now I know what b equals. I can write the equation of the line that is perpendicular to this one and passes through this point. I'm going to substitute the m value and the b value. Okay, so this is the equation of the line I'm looking for. It indeed has an inverse reciprocal slope, and that is the y-intercept. All right, so that is one extra example. Let's do one more and we'll be done with this section. I apologize. My phone is like having issues, so I just want to keep checking and making sure that I'm still recording and that everything looks good. All right, so next example. Let's write a line that is parallel to this line. Let's do and passes through the point 1, -2. Okay, so my first job is to identify the slope of the line that I'm looking for. Well, what is the slope of this line right here? This is an inslope-intercept form, and there's no x. Because there's no x, this means that this is a horizontal line. Remember that y equals a number is a horizontal line. That means that the slope of this line is 0. That also means that the slope of the line that I'm looking for, because it's parallel to it, has the same slope. So the slope of the line I'm looking for is m equals 0. Means the line I'm looking for, let's see what this looks like. Okay, so this is the line that was given, and I want to find a line that's parallel to it. So the line I'm looking for has to be a horizontal line as well. All right, well, I was given this point here. Let's keep trying to go through these points. Y equals mx plus b. Okay, and I'm going to substitute my y value of -2, my m value of 0, my x value of 1, and my b value. Okay, well, that cancels, and I get the b is -2. Okay, so writing this last step here, y is equal to m, which is 0, x plus b. Well, remember that 0 times anything is 0, so my equation for this line is y equals -2. This is accurate and true. I could have skipped all of these steps, though, if I had just recognized, hey, this is a horizontal line. That means that this is also a horizontal line. If this line passes through the point 1, -2, and it's a horizontal line, then it is a horizontal line at y equals -2. So I could have skipped all of this and just said, hey, that's at y equals -2.